Anything you say and do can be used against you in the court of law.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for clarifying that for me, Irv. I appreciate that. So Ingrid, is it all right if I go ahead and get started?
I think so. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And if anybody else joins us, that's great. Either way, so that's good. For those, I think you guys know me, I'm Mary Mitchell, Family Caregiver Support Specialist with the Area Agency on Aging. And April asked me to come and talk today a little bit about the Area Agency on Aging to kind of give everybody an idea of what we do. And because I think a lot of people don't even, just mention that COVID probably has introduced us to a lot of people because of things that people have been needing this past year, or services that they've been needing. But a lot of people haven't known that there was an Area Agency on Aging or what we do. So I think it's nice to have opportunities like this so we can talk a little bit about what we do. I'll try not to get too technical with you guys. So just to kind of give you an overview of what we do. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them while I'm talking, or at the end, whatever is fine with me. And right there's my email address and phone number in case you guys need it. I'll have it also at the end too of the talk. But before we get started, I wanted to kind of talk about Caldwell County and a little bit about what North Carolina is as far as where we are with our population because we serve those over the age of 60. For the most part, we do. There's some things that we do serve some people age 55 and older as well. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw this out there before we get into talking about what our agency does. Nationally, North Carolina is ranked 9th. As some of you guys may already know this, but that we're ranked 9th in the United States for total population. Okay, we're also ranked 9th. We ranked 9th for population over the age of 60 and over, and we're 10th with a population of age 85 and over, and that's North Carolina in general. So I thought, I want to look at where Caldwell County is within that. And so when I looked at the U.S. Census, and this is an estimate that they had on there. I know I was looking, of course, for the most recent census, and of course that's not in yet. They're still calculating everything and getting all the numbers in. But with the last census, the population in Caldwell County was 82,178. And of course, it fluctuates each year. And when I looked at this, those in Caldwell County who are age 18 and under, they're 19.9%, or almost 20%, obviously. And those who are age 65 or older is 20%, which I thought was interesting because they're expecting these percentages to change, and they already are changing anyway. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the U.S. Census comes up with once they total everything out and give their report to us. So I wanted to bring it in now right here in North Carolina. Now look at, I wanted you to see the year that we're talking about. So several years ago, 2016, there were 76 counties. And then the dark green, these were counties with more people age 60 and over, more than 0 to 17, okay? And then the light shaded counties, the lighter shade, those were counties with more people with ages 0 infant to 17 than 60 and over, okay? 76 counties, there were more, a larger population, of those of 60 and over. Now let's look at what they expect in just a couple of years. I'm sure it's past that, but we're on our way to 89 out of our 100 counties of there being more adults over the age of 60 in each county than there are children, 0 to 17, infant to 17. So things are changing. We're right in the middle of those things changing. They kept predicting it for all those years, and now it looks like we're here, which is part of what we do because we work with families, we work with individuals who are age 60 and over. So don't let this next slide scare you, because we're not going to stay on it too long, but I wanted to show this to you. If you can see there, that's our structure of the the aging services, okay? And I wasn't going to get into all the technicalities there, but you can see can you see where we are? The area agencies on aging in North Carolina. We're federally funded, and we're under the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is what is the U.S. department that is over the area agency on aging. And you can see that if you'll see right down below us, it says local service provider organizations. We actually provide funding for local service providers or local organizations to be able to serve individuals in each community. So I won't stay on there too long. We just want to kind of give you an idea of the structure of where we are with things. Okay. And so being a federally funded program, there are area agencies on aging across the United States. There are 622 in the United States. So, and the one thing I talk about many times when I'm talking about my program, which is the Family Caregiver Support Program, we talk about the idea that I have had individuals to call me from all over the United States who needed caregiver services. I've had people to call me locally that need services in California, Pennsylvania. Well, the nice thing is because we have these 622 area agencies on aging, and the Family Caregiver Support Program is a part of those, I can contact the one in the county that they're looking for to help connect them with services in their area. And that's part of what we do. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to my program. But this is something that our director has shown us that this or has presented that we provide to the community. We provide advocacy for older adults, planning for programs for older adults, program and resource development, information brokerage, funds administration, like I mentioned, the federal funds that are provided to our area, and quality assurance to make sure that these funds are being used correctly in our community, and and that they're using the funds specifically for older adults. And then training and education, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But a lot of people don't realize that there are area agencies on aging across the United States that could help them no matter where they are. Okay, so bringing it back down to North Carolina here, we have 16 area agencies on aging across North Carolina, and you can see we're there, and we're Region E. That's what we go by. Each region has a letter that they go by, and ours is Region E. They're in the purple, and we serve Alexander, Burke, Caldwell, and Catawba counties. And there you go. We're highlighted there in the yellow. Kind of gives you a little bit of a better idea of our region that we cover. And if you look back, some of these regions, you'll notice ours may be smaller, let's say, than Region P over here in blue. Well, that we're also looking, it is divided up. These regions are divided up by population. And so the state, our state office looks at what the population is. I mean, look up here at G in the light green, there are many more counties that they serve. However, their population is more rural than ours is. There's a lower population than what we serve. And so that makes a difference. Now, they may have a larger geographical area to cover. However, they may be serving a similar number of individuals that they provide services for based on the population. And like I said, there we are in the 4 counties that we serve there. So this will give you a little bit of an idea about what we do. Now, with this federal funding, each area agency on aging over their region can decide how these funds will be administered, working with local government to make sure that funds are provided to the community where the needs are. So it's not just like, oh, I think we'll do this. But we work with local agencies, and we work with local governments to make sure that we're providing the services that are needed in that area. So some of the things that our area agency on aging does provide services in our region are home delivered meals, congregate meals, in-home aid, adult daycare and adult day health, medical transportation, general transportation, housing and home improvement, the senior center operations that I think you guys are very familiar with, information and options counseling. That last one, the information and options counseling, we receive calls quite often from individuals in the community who are looking for something specific to help them. They may call and say they have a friend, they have a relative that needs home delivered meals. So it's at that point, because some of our funding does go to home delivered meals, what we do is we provide them the information, the contact information for home delivered meals, to contact the organization in that county that is providing those home delivered meals, and how they can get connected with them. Or the congregate meals, if they want to know where some of the congregate meals are. Seniors Morning Out is what they're called in some of our areas, where they come in and they have meals together. Now, with COVID this past year, of course, things have changed tremendously. We did not have our congregate meals. We did not have, well, we had home delivered meals, but these were frozen meals. They weren't hot meals that had been delivered in the past. We had to change help our providers change what they're doing to make it safe for everyone involved, whether it was the individual receiving the meal or those who were delivering it or those preparing it. And so during that time, they were provided frozen meals. Now, the nice thing is we're all seeing some changes here, and we're starting to go back in some areas to hot home delivered meals that are hot meals. And I think in the future, that's going to change as well, even more so. It's going to open up even more in the future. And we're being very cautious with how we open things back up, and we're not rushing back into anything, to make sure that everyone who is being served and those who are serving are doing things the correct way and the safest way. So, when I mention these things, some of these things have changed over the past year, but I'm very thankful, and I think we all are, that we're starting to see some changes with that as we move forward. A couple of things that I wanted to mention. Along with that, we have a resource directory for older adults. And if you guys have not received that, Ingrid has those at the Senior Center. Ingrid and April have those there at the Senior Center. Excuse me. And if you ever needed one, they have the hard copies there. We have them on our website. And some people prefer to look on the website, but if you like a hard copy, we keep them supplied. And we try to keep this updated every year and a half, 2 years. We try to update phone numbers in that resource directory. Because we serve 4 counties, we were unable to do a resource directory for each county. So what we do is we do one resource directory that has all the information in it for all 4 of our counties. And we'll be glad to get that to you anytime you need it. All you have to do is go by and ask them for it. And Ingrid, I think she has a copy. Yeah, there you go, you guys. If you want, she's holding up a copy of it there. So we're glad to provide those. It has lots of information about housing. It has information about the organizations that you may need to contact as an older adult. So we'd be glad to get that to you anytime you need it. I mentioned our website. I wanted to tell you our website is www.WPCOGAAA.org. And I also have it on the last page, so you can copy it when we get to our last page too. So don't worry about if you haven't gotten it, if you didn't write it down, but we'll be glad to make sure you can get on our website too, because our website has information about what we do, some of the things that we provide with the community. The resource directory, my caregiver service list are on there. I have a service list that I have for caregivers. Now Ingrid also has those as well. I've color coded those, and Caldwell County is a green colored sheet of paper that has numbers on the front and the back that are specifically for Caldwell County that caregivers may need. So they have those as well, and be glad to get those for you. And a lot of people, unless you need them, you don't think about those kinds of things until you need them. And that's understandable. It's like most anything that we do in life. It's not, it's until we need it that suddenly we need the information and need to get to it. That's why I tell you that it's there whenever you want to pick them up. But also, we have the Regional Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. I'll talk a little bit about those that have the stars beside them. I'm going to talk about those a little bit further. Family Caregiver Support Program, technical assistance to agencies serving older adults. So any way that we can be a technical assistant to agencies across Caldwell County to help older adults, we try to. Senior Tar Heel legislative support. Our Senior Tar Heels, we have representatives from each one of our counties that serve on the Senior Tar Heel legislature. And before COVID, they were going there quarterly to meet, going to the Raleigh area, usually Cary, Raleigh area, where they would meet and talk about services for older adults and advocate for them for services for older adults in our community to our legislature. So it's a wonderful program. Representatives from all 100 counties come to the Senior Tar Heel legislature, and they're part of that, and they help support older adults across North Carolina. The Operation Fan Heat Relief, I'm sure some of you have heard about this. The fans that have been purchased by Duke Energy to provide to those who need assistance with fans or with for the heat relief during the summer. Medicare Improvements for Patients and Providers Act, MIPA, that is for individuals who are needing assistance with their health insurance, who need assistance maybe with their prescriptions or medications and those kinds of things that could help individuals along the way who can't afford some of the services that are needed. Evidence-based health promotion classes. We do presentations on aging issues in certain things that are issues in the community. And normally I'm talking about either the Area Agency on Aging or services that caregivers may need. And then Project Care, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute too. So that kind of gives you a kind of an overview of some of the things that we do. I know it sounds like a lot, and it can be overwhelming, but if you ever have any specific questions, we'll be glad to help you in certain areas if you have specific questions about things. I wanted to talk briefly about our regional ombudsman program because I think this is really important. The ombudsman program they are advocates for residents' rights in nursing homes. And adult care homes and family care homes. Let's say if someone has a complaint of an individual in a facility has a complaint, they can come to the ombudsman. There is no charge for this. They can come call the ombudsman. The ombudsman can help work with them to resolve these issues that they may have in a facility. They provide training for facilities, let's say CNAs and nurses in these facilities. They do go in and provide training for them, and they monitor these facilities as well. And having their presence in long-term care makes a big difference. And they're there to work with residents as well as the staff. It's not me against you kind of thing. It's more of working together to make sure that they work together and that the facility is there for the individual, but that also that the facility and the individual's needs are heard, and that individuals have their rights there as well that are heard. They also promote Elder Abuse Awareness Month, and to make sure that individuals that work in these facilities are aware of elder abuse and what those are and what signs there are of elder abuse as well. And they do a lot of education on that. So they're an important part of our community, and what they do, there is no fee for that. Like I said, there's being a federally funded program, there is no fee for what they do to advocate for residents of long-term care. Some of you have heard about our Family Caregiver Support Program, which is what I work with. It seems like most of the time, which it should be, focus is put on a patient in a family that's going through an illness or they need care. And so many times the caregiver may not be noticed, or their needs may not be met. And so it's my job as the Family Caregiver Support Specialist to be there to support caregivers, to guide them in any direction they may need with information for what they need on their journey while they're while they are a caregiver, and that they don't feel like they're lost. That's a big part of the way I work with my program, is that caregivers don't feel like that they're lost, that that they don't have a voice, which they do. Overall, we're guided this is our guidance on what we need to provide for the community: information about services, which I just mentioned, access to services that caregivers may need for themselves or for their loved one. I do training and support for caregivers whenever the COVID isn't going on. I'll keep mentioning that, but things kind of went to a standstill for a lot of us this past year. For services that we provide as far as in person. So we had to do a lot of things remote, like our support group, our caregiver support group that we have each month. The nice thing, April has made that, and Ingrid both have made this possible for us to have this caregiver support group that we meet each month. If you need the link to that, they'll be glad to provide that for you. We meet the first Wednesday of each month at 1 o'clock, and we're excited about anybody who would want to attend that and be a part of our support group. So that's been a nice thing that we've been able to continue during COVID and continue in the future, I believe, for now anyway, because I think it's been beneficial for a lot of people to do. We provide respite services for caregivers. Many times caregivers provide care for their loved one and forget about themselves. So part of my job is to remind the caregiver that, you need to be thinking about yourself too, so that you can continue to be the best caregiver possible for your loved one. Part of that is respite, and we do provide respite services. And there's several options that we do have. So if you know of anyone who's caregiving, or if you are and you need those respite services, feel free to give me a call and we can talk about any options that hopefully would help you to take a break and step back and do a little something for yourself and not feel guilty about it. That's the other thing I tell caregivers. Don't feel guilty about this, because it's very much needed. It's not something that you're splurging on yourself because you want to think about yourself. It's to give you this time to take a break so you can be a better caregiver down the road. So it's very important for caregivers, but I won't spend too much time on that. I have a tendency to overdo on that because I want to preach it to my caregivers. But we also provide supplemental services for caregivers who are caring for someone. There may be incontinence supplies that they need, or liquid nutrition. We have a limited budget for that, but we can provide that service as well. Just to kind of give you, I won't go into all of these, but these are kind of some of the things, kind of give you an idea of some of the things that we also provide, that in-home respite vouchers for caregivers. We also have funding to provide services for grandparents raising grandchildren. Many of you may know that the number of grandparents raising their grandchildren is growing, and it's been steadily growing for a number of years for different reasons that adults, their children who are adults could no longer care for their children. There are a variety of reasons out there, and grandparents are stepping in to raise, or relatives are stepping in to raise their grandchildren. And it's a really important part of what we do is supporting them in any way that we can. There again, during COVID, we had a lot more grandparents raising grandchildren who needed some assistance, and we were able to give them some help. We have done programming for grandparents raising grandchildren, because a lot of times they are tossed back into parenting. Well, they may be parenting 20, 30, 40 years since the last time they were parenting, and things have changed. As we all know, things change quickly. And so we've done some classes for grandparents raising grandchildren to help get them up to speed on a few things to help them with their parenting skills. And I think it's been something that grandparents have been very appreciative of too, because a lot of times they feel alone, they feel lost, just like many of our caregivers do, because they're not sure what to do, or they don't want to make the wrong move. And so we're there to help maybe support them and show them that they're not by themselves, and they're not alone. With the support groups that we've had, I think that's been a huge thing. We've had a support group here in Catawba County before COVID, and it was wonderful to see the families come into these meetings. We would have dinner before the meetings, and the kids would come in and they got to know each other, and the grandparents got to know each other. And so it was more of a time each month for them to come together and realize they weren't alone, and that they had other people they could relate to. And my favorite part of it was watching the kids come in and get excited to see each other, to spend time together once a month, because they're all in the same boat there. So it's been really neat, and I'm anxious to get back to that too in all of our counties. But anyway, to go on down, we've had like the parenting the second time around support group. We've had lunch and learns in the past. We hope to get back to that. We've done aging sensitivity training with individuals who maybe may not realize what, to give them a firsthand look at what it's like to actually grow older with arthritis, or with your eyesight fading, or with your hearing not being able to hear, or neuropathy, things like that that may happen as you get older. We've done these sensitivity trainings where even younger adults or children get to experience that and see, firsthand that, maybe I'm not realizing exactly what older adults are going through or what they may be experiencing. So it's neat that we've been able to do that. We reach out to the Hispanic congregation, the Hispanic population as much as we can. We provide our caregiver service list in Spanish. I've actually spoken to church groups, Hispanic church groups, and had an interpreter to do that for me. That's how much they wanted the information, is they were willing to do the interpretation in Spanish for me while I talked with them about services for caregivers and there again, respite. So we work with the Hispanic population as best we can, and how that maybe go to where they are in their journey and hopefully help them on their journey with caregiving if we can, or with services from the Area Agency on Aging. We also have a powerful tools for caregivers that we've provided there at the Caldwell Senior Center. It's a 6-week class that goes through the helping caregivers learn the tools that might be helpful on their journey to become to have a successful caregiver journey with their loved one. Another area that we do is health promotion programs that we provide through our aging specialist does these. They're the 7 areas that we do provide programs are living healthy with diabetes, and I know Caldwell Senior Center also provides this as well. Living healthy with chronic pain, matter of balance, Tai Chi for arthritis and fall prevention. They're again powerful tools for caregivers, and walk with ease. And these programs are evidence-based programs that clearly do help those caregivers and older adults with issues that they may be dealing with, which may be diabetes or chronic pain. Matter of balance is a wonderful class to help with balance. Because for many of us, as we get older, it's important to learn that matter of balance so that it helps us, prevents us from falling as well. And then the Tai Chi for arthritis and fall prevention. So if you ever get the opportunity, I know that April and Ingrid do provide these as well. The other classes for, at the Senior Center, I know you've gotten their calendar, so you know they're busy providing those virtually. And now some of them, I believe, are online, right, Ingrid? Is that some of these classes are they're able to do them in person now. But I think, so it's nice to have both, because sometimes we can't always get there, and sometimes it's better, we feel safer at home, or caregivers may be able to do some of these classes virtually at home while they're caring for their family member. So, April and Ingrid do have the information about those classes that are offered there at the Senior Center. I wanted to mention Project CARE. Project CARE is a state-funded program. I want to make sure that it's not federally funded, it's state funded by North Carolina, and it's specifically for families who are caring for someone with dementia, any type of dementia. And it's the CARE part is Caregiver Alternatives to Running on Empty. And they have a family consultant. There's a family consultant in each one of our, across North Carolina, that I think they have 7 or 8 family consultants now that are there for families who are caring for someone with dementia. The family consultant can meet with you over the phone right now. She meets with you over the phone or by virtual on the computer or whatever, to talk with you about issues that you may be seeing, or things that questions you may have if you're caring for someone who has dementia. And she can direct you with services that may be available for you. And also, if you know of someone who's caring for dementia, for someone with dementia, or if you are yourself, once you talk with her, she can also provide respite services. Those respite services are to help the caregiver take a break, to do something for themselves, or to relax a little bit, because we all know caring for someone who has dementia is not, it's a challenging situation and can be very difficult for family members. And And with this family consultant, she can help you with ideas and information that you may need while you're caring for someone. That's just a kind of a general idea of what they do. They help with care management to give ideas for you as far as if you may need ideas of things, maybe your loved one is doing something that you're not sure how to handle, she can kind of give you some ideas with that. She does provide caregiver education for that. She does the face-to-face consultations, of course. They will be getting back into those once things are safe again for individuals to go into the home. We don't know when that will be, but like I said, she does that over the phone now or virtually. She does training and the respite vouchers, like I mentioned. So they have a wealth of information that they provide caregivers. So I always encourage you, if you know of someone, be sure to give them information about Project Care. There again, we have the brochures on all of this, and I did mention a resource directory that Ingrid showed you. They have copies of. There's information in there about the Project Care. There's information in there about all of our programs that we provide. And like I said, we have brochures on everything we can provide you if you need them for yourself or if you need them for someone else as well. But I also here's some information. This is our website. Again, I mentioned our website, WPCOG Area Agency on Aging. It's WPCOGAAA.org. We're located in Hickory. That's our address there, our fax number there. And down at the bottom here, if there's anything that you heard today that you might want additional information about, these are the individuals that work in our department that could help you with additional information. Tina Miller is our director. Christina Franklin is our ombudsman, I mentioned to you. And if you look on down, Anita Roberts is our aging specialist and ombudsman. And there are their email addresses. Down at the bottom is Karen Phoenix. She's the Project Care coordinator, the family consultant, for our region. And she serves Caldwell County. So there's her email address and her phone number. Sarah Stamey is our aging specialist. I mentioned those classes that the fitness classes that are provided. She works with that. She works with so many different areas across the area agency on aging. She does a lot more than that, but that was one area that she does work with our senior centers across the region. And of course, I'm the family caregiver support specialist. But that kind of gives you some general information about us. I didn't want to get too detailed. I didn't want to bore anybody with detailed information. That kind of gives you an overview of what we do, the counties that we serve. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer your questions. Or if you want to talk to me later at some other point, some people like to just ask me a particular question. If you'd rather do that, that's fine too. But that kind of gives you an overview. I hope it was helpful. I hope it wasn't too detailed for you, but kind of gives you an idea of what we do. We work in a lot of different areas to help older adults across Caldwell County. Yeah. So Ingrid, I think that's everything. I think I covered everything.
Okay, that was wonderful. Does anybody have any questions? You'll have to unmute yourself.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. And during my journey, the COG has been very helpful to me. And the ombudsman has taken on things that they shouldn't have to do, that it should just be done. But I also have a relative in California and some friends in Michigan, and they don't have the same services that the COG gives here, or anything like that. It was really amazing to me because I thought this was all over. Not that it says Western Piedmont, but the Council on Governments is all over. And we have really good services here, so I think we should use them, keep them going, and support them. Thank you, Mary.
Oh, thank you, Mary. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, and it is even though we are federally funded, each region decides how they will use their funding. And if your friends or relatives in those areas need the contact information for that area agency on aging, just let me know. But yeah, and every COG, like you said, the Western Piedmont Council of Governments is very different. We have a very strong Council of Governments here that does serve all 4 counties. And so I appreciate you saying that, because we do work hard with their let me back up. With the COG, there are other divisions in here as well, with community planning, Section 8 housing, there's transportation, there's information about transportation and community planning, those kinds of things, where we work with local governments with community planning. So there's a lot that we do other than the Area Agency on Aging that we're under. So I appreciate you saying that, Mary. Yeah.
Is there anybody else with a question? Well, I want to say thank you, Mary. That was wonderful. And we will have this available on YouTube for those who missed it, and they can catch up.
Great. All right. And if you have any